All right, let's have an honest chat about luxury safaris in Tanzania. You know that trip that you see all over social media that looks like a perfect and glossy, beautiful movie? And you're thinking about going on a lifelong dream trip? But you got questions just like we did before we went, and we had lots of them. Like, what does luxury camping really mean? What is the food like? We'll break down that and practical stuff too, such as what should you pack? What should you leave at home? The visa situation, the bugs, the Wi-Fi, the lack of, or will there be Wi-Fi? Will you need vaccines and malaria pills? What animals will you see? Will you have a private bathroom? Very important question. Will I see a kill? Another one that is asked to us a lot is, will you hear animals at night? So let's break this down. We live in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area, and this is how we arrived. Now, we could have flown from Dallas to Doha to Arusha, but those flights were pricey. So we booked a flight from Dallas to Atlanta to Amsterdam to Arusha. Yes, I agree, it was a long trip. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It was a long travel days, but look where you're going. You're going to Africa. That's approximately 8,900 miles or 14,200 kilometers. So it's going to take some time. So make the best of it. Download a bunch of movies on your phone. And the plane had a good choice of movies. Bring a page-turner book and catch up on your sleep. Packing for this trip. Yes, it can be tricky, and you may ask why. Well, they require you to bring a bag without wheels and soft-sided. Well, my first thought was, I am not dragging a soft-sided bag through airports without wheels. Yes, I'm a tad spoiled, but solution found. I found a suitcase on Amazon that has detachable wheels, so issue solved. Another challenge was the suitcase had to be under 33 pounds or 15 kilograms. Well, that's not as difficult as you may think. Leave behind your dryer at home. This is glamping tents, so you're not going to have a plug. So yes, ladies, bad hair days are on the horizon. The light pants and shirts don't add that much weight, and yes, I am patting myself in the back because my bag was only 28 pounds. Win for me. And you really don't need to pack 5 pairs of shoes because you're never going to wear them. I did research not to wear black or blue as it'll attract the tsetse fly, which many people call it the sleeping sickness fly. I did not bring those colors because I didn't want to take a chance to test that theory. So while we were there, we didn't see anybody else wearing those colors either. So you may want to bring neutral, earthy tones, khaki, beige, olive green, and we were told that bright colors or white can kind of spook the animals. Lightweight and long sleeve shirts and pants will protect you from the sun and the bugs. Do not forget to pack bug spray. Since you are doing carry-on only, you can get bug spray wipes via Amazon, and that eliminates the issue with the 3-ounce rule. Sunscreen is another must. The good news, most of the camps have laundry service. It's included in the price. So don't worry that you will not have to wear the same pair of pants for 5 days straight. Visas. Yes, you are going to need a visa to enter Tanzania. I strongly suggest that you obtain your visa prior to leaving your country. If you don't, there's going to be a long line at the airport, and the last thing you want to do after getting off a long flight is to stand in a long line. Just make sure you get your visa from the Tanzania government site. The third-party sites will charge you a lot more. Do this at least 6 weeks prior to leaving, as it takes some time for your visa approval to arrive via your email. I will put a link for that in the description below. Another question we get asked was, did you have to have vaccines before you went? And yikes, that was a big one for me. I'm not a fan of getting needles, so we did a deep dive of research, and as long as we didn't cross the border into Kenya, we were okay with no vaccines. I didn't have to get a shot. But we did get malaria pills. We got them from our general doctor through a prescription. We started taking 1 pill a day, days prior to leaving for the trip, and continued them each day while we were on the trip and for 1 week after the trip. We did not experience any side effects. So you're going on safari to see the big five and so many more wonderful animals in their natural habitat. Don't forget to experience the culture as well. The culture is vibrant, diverse, of many ethnic groups. The markets are full of a great experience where you can find a wide variety of goods and fresh produce, handcrafted souvenirs and spices. And yes, I brought home spices. It's a maze of stalls run by locals. Every vacation we go on, we take a cooking class. Yes, we love to cook. And we get to learn the culture through the local food traditions and interact with the locals. Another cultural visit you can do is a Maasai village. It was a very eye-opening experience. I will always remember. You will get to witness energetic singing and dancing and demonstrations and tour their homes. We were welcomed with a very warm hello. So you're going on this great vacation to Africa and you're trying to figure out what time of year should I go? And it's a really good question because timing does matter. June to October is the famous Great Migration. January and February bring calving season and incredible predator action. We went in February and yes, we saw it all. We saw migration of the wildebeest zebras and the kills and so much more. The weather was very comfortable and there was no humidity. This is from a person who is not a fan of hot weather. So when I say it was comfortable, it really was. I never got overheated. What are the accommodations like? Well, you're not going to pull up to a high-rise Hilton hotel, but what you're going to do is stay in the most amazing camp. Yes, it is a tent, but we are talking luxury tent camping here. The canvas walls separate you from the wild, and yes, you can hear the lions at night. And even one night, we had a leopard outside our tent for about 30 minutes, but we were not scared. It was kind of all part of the experience. Each camp we went to, our tent had a king-size bed, robes, private bath, bigger than my first apartment, a desk, and a sitting area. And get this, our wake-up calls, they were greeted by a staff member bringing you coffee, tea, or hot chocolate with a biscuit. Now, full disclosure here, the lighting in your room is solar powered, so it's not that bright. So my lady friends, also, there is not a plug for your curling iron or your blow dryer. This really wasn't camping as per se. It was more like a 5-star hotel, but with canvas walls. So since there's only solar power in your tent, you're going to ask, how am I going to charge my phone, my camera equipment? Well, the answer is in the main tent, there's a drawer with your tent number on it. And there's a charging station in each drawer. So we charged our cameras and phones at night in that drawer. So you can still stay connected with the world. There is Wi-Fi in the main tent and dining tent, and it was pretty good. We were able to video chat with our friends and family back home, check email, and post pictures. So there was no withdrawal from the digital world. Food. I can't say enough good things about the food. Breakfast, it was eggs, cooked to order with bacon or sausage, with a variety of fresh fruit and pastries. Lunch was either a boxed lunch consisting of grilled chicken, hard-boiled eggs, fruit, cakes, and sandwiches while you're on your safari drive and you could not dine at the camp. Evening was dinner, and it was incredible. Service was like a 5-star restaurant. Each meal started off with a homemade soup served in a warmed bowl. Now we're out in the middle of the Serengeti and our soup is in a warmed bowl. Pretty impressive. We were there for 2 weeks and we had a different soup each day. The main course was always a meat dish with fresh vegetables. The desserts were sweet and we never had the same one twice. So let's say you're a vegetarian. Just let them know prior to your arrival and voila, they'll make a special dish just for you. What impressed me the most was the 5-star service, and the spectacular food was all prepared in the middle of the bush. Hats off to the chef. After dinner, there's entertainment, and then you are escorted back to your room by a Maasai warrior with a spear. The reason for that is the camps are not fenced, so animals can wander in at any time. And then when you get back to your camp, in your tent, lying in that king-size bed, you hear the sounds of the African night kick in. It starts with sounds of insects in the distance and then the roar of a lion. You're in a world that's not like home. You lie there and listen and dream of the day's experiences. The main event, the whole reason you came, was the safari, the animals. Remember, you are in the wild, and these are wild animals, so you cannot jump out of that vehicle to get a better picture. That's a really firm rule. Once you see these animals in their native environment, you are going to be in awe. It's going to take your breath away. The sheer abundance, the behaviors of the animals, and yes, you're going to want to see the big 5. And they are lions, leopards, elephants, buffalo, and rhino. But there's so much more. What we didn't expect was the birds. Birds you just don't see back home. The giraffes were everywhere. Zebras and wildebeest. Antelope, cheetahs, hyenas, hippos, and so much more. Remember, wildlife does not appear on schedule. Sometimes you just have to be patient, but we were very fortunate to have a wonderful guide who knew where every animal was and the best time to see them. Here, the movie, The Lion King, is brought to life. We stumbled upon a cheetah that was hunting. We drove right in the middle of a migration. We saw kills. We learned about the circle of life and how each animal contributes to the ecosystem. We watched baby lion cubs in silence and as they played with each other, and we were told that was a very rare sighting. Giraffes walked right past us. Was it worth it? We did a 2-week vacation. We saved for many years. It was expensive. The price was steep, and it is an investment. First, the travel to and from is exhausting. The roads at times are bumpy. The bugs are in abundance. And insect repellent with DEET is non-negotiable. You have to take a malaria pill every day. That's a must. Camping, well, you're not really roughing it. It's more like a boutique hotel with canvas walls. But these walls meant you get to hear, smell, and feel the bush in a way that a traditional hotel could never provide. It is a perfect combination of luxury and wilderness. You're paying for a private guide and his expertise. You were paying to gain access to remote locations. You get to digitally detox during the day. The trip will change the way you see the world. So was it worth it? Absolutely, it was. It was not just a trip. It was an experience that you will look back on for the rest of your life. It will transform you. Before you click off, I just wanted to let you know we have another video called Arrive Like a Pro in Arusha, Tanzania. It's got some great helpful tips as well in there that's not included in this video. And it'll be in the description below. Thank you so very much for watching this video all the way to the end. I hope it answers some of your questions. I hope it lets you dream a little bit. If you enjoyed the video, we'd be most honored if you give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and we would love to hear your comments. And just go ahead and share our videos with your friends. Until next time, happy travels from Travel with the Hales.
Banana!